University of Virginia. Those are your 4 All-America players in this game, and that doesn't mean that all the other players aren't talented as well. 2 very good teams. They don't make many mistakes, very disciplined teams, and we expect a close game.
A lot of talent out here today. The winner of today's game moves on to state action on Saturday, June 9th at Hofstra University. And time now for the first face-off, the John Jay Indians and Yorktown Cornhuskers on VIP Cable Channel 12. The number 1 seed, Yorktown Cornhuskers, into today's game with a record of 15-4. John Jay, the number 2 seed, comes into today's game with a record of 17-2. Joe Lombardi, what do you see as John Jay needing to do to calm the strong offense of Yorktown?
Well, I talked to both coaches last night, JR, Bob Keir of John Jay and Jim Turnbull of Yorktown, and Coach Keir told me that John Jay has developed a special zone defense specifically designed for Yorktown that they're going to be instituting in this game. If you're familiar with basketball defenses, it's basically going to be a 2-3 matchup zone. And the idea of this offense, JR, of this defense, is to make Yorktown take shots from the perimeter, from just inside the restraining box. They want to clog up that crease area, and they want to force the shots outside. So you're going to see their best defenseman, Anthony Newman, sliding around the area in front of the goal, and they're going to be playing that zone defense. Yorktown, meanwhile, defensively, their main priority, obviously, is to shut down number 19 of John Jay, Charles Sirigliano. Coach Turnbull said he is definitely their main priority on defense, and they're going to let other players score. They'll be more than happy to let other players score if they keep Charles Sirigliano under wraps, which they did in their first meeting this year. It was they held John Jay scoreless at halftime, and John Jay didn't score until early in the second half, and Sirigliano had only 1 goal in the game.
And John Jay's goalie, Chris Projecnik, certainly one of the best in Section 1.
He's really been playing well. He's got a save percentage this year of 72.9, and in the high-scoring game of lacrosse, for a goaltender to have that type of a save percentage is phenomenal. He's only a junior, and I'm very sure he will be on the Empire State Games team this year, the Hudson Valley entry, if he decides to do it. If he goes out for the team. I think he's as good a goalie as I've ever seen in high school lacrosse, and maybe Steve Kavovit of Yorktown a few years ago would rival that. But he's an outstanding goalie, and if he does well, it's going to be very important for John Jay to stay in this game. In the other contests they've had against Yorktown, you look at the scores, 9-2 earlier this year, 10-2 last year, 10-4 in their earlier meeting of last year. They've got to stay in the game. They can't let Yorktown jump out to an early lead. Pajednik has to make some big saves, which he did in their big win against Wilton. He really kept them in that game, and John Jay beat Wilton 9-8 in overtime, a team that defeated Yorktown. So that has to be an encouraging aspect for John Jay. And you look at the John Jay coach, Bob Keir. Interestingly enough, he was a member of the first lacrosse team in Yorktown high school history, and he played under a man named Jim Turnbull, who is standing right now about 20 feet away from him, his opposite number, the coach of Yorktown.
Irony comes back in strange twists, doesn't it?
Indeed, and not only that, Bob Keir's father, Bob Keir, was the athletic director at Yorktown during much of Jim Turnbull's tenure. And interesting, we have the number 1 seeded team here, Yorktown, and the number 2 seeded team, John Jay, in Class B. Same situation in Class A, where Lakeland, the number 2 seed, is taking on the number 1 seed, Suffern. They're playing right now over at Rye High School, which is a diversion from the way they normally do it. Usually the Section 1 Class A and B championship is a doubleheader. This year they're being played at different sites. And it's interesting, they've only gone to 2 different classes in 1986, first year. Before that, they just had 1 class. In fact, Yorktown and John Jay squared off in 1984 for the Section 1 championship. There was no Class A-B designation then, and that year Yorktown won 10-7. This, in fact, will be the 3rd time these 2 teams are meeting in the Section 1 finals. And as we mentioned in the pregame show, John Jay 0-10 against Yorktown, looking for their first ever win against the mighty Cornhuskers.
Well, as we've mentioned in past games, Jim Turnbull, something on his mind, although maybe not the most important thing on his mind, is the issue of face-offs. And they have a lot of talent on this team where the face-off issue is not that important, but he has to have it on his mind nonetheless.
Absolutely. You look at John Jay, and last year they went into this final game against Yorktown with probably the best face-off guy there was in the section, Tom Peters, who's now playing at Brown. Jim Turnbull, as he always seems to do, came up with a real defense against that, and he came up with a guy named Matt Horowitz. Last 2 weeks ago when we did the Lakeland-Yorktown game, Jeff Schussler, who is an All-American this year, along with teammates Rick Beardsley and Christian Johns, best face-off man in the section. And again, Turnbull managed to neutralize him. What they're going to do with Jagan Tenfel, Coach Turnbull told me last night, they're going to start off Roy Colsey on the face-offs, and then if Roy Colsey falters, they're going to go to the man that really did a number on Lakeland 2 weeks ago in Yorktown's overtime victory, and that guy is Brian Duperzell, number 23. So looks like they're going to start off with Colsey. At least that was the game plan as of last night on the face-offs against number 4 of John Jay, Jason Jagan Tenfel. A very key area, obviously, and we always emphasize it, can't emphasize it enough. This is one of the few sports where you can score and then get the ball right back. So if you dominate those face-offs, you can really put yourself in very good position.
And if we have the talent out here today, which this is all cracked up to be, we could have another overtime barn burner like the last VIP game of the week, which was Lakeland-Yorktown, which was a thrill.
Was it ever? And we had a great crowd there to see it. It was just excellent lacrosse. We hope that this game lives up to that. It's very hard, of course, for that to happen. We hope it does, but certainly there is the potential for that to happen, and we'll keep an eye on that, of course. The other thing when you talk about the face-off situation, JR, for Yorktown, is not only the guy who takes the face-off. So often, he will get the ball loose. He won't win it, and he won't lose it. And that's when you got to watch the guy on the wings. There's Colsey right there. He's going to take the face-off. You got to keep an eye on number 10, Jim Costello, and number 30, Henry Wietek, at the end of the field. And as well as Randy Davidoff, number 11. They're there when that ball is loose. So right now, that's the matchup. Jason Jagan Tenfel, number 4 for John Jay, carrying a 17-2 record, the number 2 seed against Roy Colsey of Yorktown, which is 15-4, 10-time defending Section 1 champs.
John Jay comes away with the face-off. Jagan Tenfel off the field in a hurry.
The other thing is John Jay does not attack well on the perimeter. They like to get that ball in the crease. The only guys who really shoot from outside are Jagan Tenfel, number 4, and David Fiacco, number 24.
Sirigliano around the perimeter. Yorktown going to want to keep him outside and not get him inside because he is dangerous. Looking for an underhand shot, blocked away. Jagan Tenfel struggling, can't get it. And it's picked up by Orlowski.
Todd Orlowski has kind of been like a wild card for John Jay. I don't think anyone thought he would score 40 goals going into the season. Well, that's what he enters this game with. 40 goals for the junior, number 11, Todd Orlowski.
Sirigliano. Back to Jason Drake. Coming in. Battered away. Takes a hit to the abdomen area.
And a nice scoop-up ground ball there by Henry Wietek, number 30, but he throws it away.
Aaron pass out to Jason Foley.
Coach Turnbull told me last night John Jay's going to be awarded possession. They rule it was out of bounds, JR. Coach Turnbull told me last night he's going to have Jason Foley, number 33, all over Charles Sirigliano, number 19 of John Jay. In their first meeting this year, it was Jim Costello, the sophomore sensation, number 10 of Yorktown, who was shadowing Sirigliano. And it is Foley on Charles, right behind the net.
Charles Sirigliano looking for a pass, looking for a shot, gets it over.
Right now, Yorktown in a straight man-to-man defense.
Orlowski trying to make a turn. Can't do it. Nice defense.
And John Jay once again is going to get possession.
Was nice defense by Davidoff of Yorktown.
Well, we emphasized how important it was for John Jay, not even to score early on, just to get on the offensive, to have the ball in the restraining box, to be on the attack. They didn't even do that against Nanuet. The first 2 minutes of the semifinal game, Nanuet had the ball the whole time, yet John Jay won the game 12-2. So important, though, against Yorktown for them to really take charge early on, for their confidence more than anything. This is a team they've lost 10 straight games to, after all. We have a penalty against Yorktown right now.
Like we said, psychology plays a big part in this game. John Jay really got to show some domination out here in the early going, and so far they've got Yorktown on the defensive.
The flag's on the field.
Sirigliano with a shot. It's good. And John Jay takes the lead 1-0.
Well, right there in that situation, they don't call the penalty until you lose possession of the ball. And Charles Sirigliano set up very nicely, does what he does best, and that is to score from in close. From right around that crease area, he got a nice shot away. And very important for John Jay to take that early lead. We keep emphasizing it. And now they're ahead 1-0, and they've really been running their offense very well early on, JR. I'm very impressed by it. They look like a completely different team than the first time these two teams met. Of course, it's early, but the signs are good right now for John Jay.
Sirigliano with the goal at 7:44 left to go here in the first quarter.
And that would have been a slashing penalty against Foley, Jason Foley. Of course, it's not called now because they did score the goal.
1-0 John Jay. And next face-off, Jason Jagan-Tenfel coming away with it again. Defended Brian Duperzel, and he picks it up, gets it off.
Well, it looks like there is a penalty. I was wrong. It was an additional penalty besides the one they called. So John Jay is a man up right now.
Randy Davidoff straight away coming in. The shot, Dom Finn, is good. We have a tie game already.
Very tough to give up a goal in that situation right there. Yorktown gets the steal and the fast break, and Dominic Finn, you see that blazing speed before you even know it. He's right all over Chris Pajednik, and nothing much a goalie can do in that situation to stop that shot. He just fired one, much like Sirigliano's. It's all even now, 1-1.
Just about 19 seconds for that play to take place. Dom Finn headed to Syracuse with the goal. Tie game, 1-1, John Jay Yorktown. Yorktown in green, John Jay in the purple and white. And back now again for the next face-off. Now they have Colsey in there for Yorktown.
No, Jagan-Tenfel has won 3 in a row now for John Jay. That's very important. If they keep this up throughout the game, they're going to be in good shape.
Sirigliano gets it out to number 10, Jason Drake, with the score, and it's 2-1 John Jay.
Great feed by Charles Sirigliano. Last year, he wasn't nearly as much of a feeder as he was this year, but he's adjusted to what the defense is giving him, and they're not giving him many shots. When he does get him, he does capitalize, but a beautiful feed to Jason Drake right in front of the crease, and Drake drills it home. 2-1 John Jay.
You know, talking to some of these players the night before the game, especially on John Jay, they needed to come in here and get this game, get the scoreboard lit up early, and they've done it.
And not only that, it's a very unsettled pace right now, and that favors John Jay. They like to play this brand of lacrosse, and Jagan-Tenfel right now just dominating the face-offs.
Batted away, Randy Davidoff.
Frankly, I'm surprised we have not seen Duperzel, number 23, in there yet, because Coach Turnbull did say that if Colsey struggled early on in the face-offs, he would go to number 23, Duperzel.
Here's Colsey.
Finn just missed the pass right there. And Anthony Newman, John Jay's best ground ball man, is right over there.
A struggle, no possession now, and now Finn seems to have it.
Oh, they're just Joe Sisko with a great hit on Dominic Finn. Look at Sisko, he's just letting his body fly all over the place. You'd never know he was a two-way lineman in football, would you?
The intensity of this game.
Well, they're clean hits by Joe Sisko, and that's the key. You've got to keep those hits clean. You can't take any bad penalties here. We saw that Yorktown paid for that. You just got to keep those hits clean.
Inbound Steve Carcaterra.
Nice save by Pajednik with his knee.
Off the bounce of Colsey's stick, and then saved by Pajednik. And here come the Indians.
Chris Pajednik is just a fantastic goaltender, and we're going to see that not only this afternoon, but next year as well. As I said, he's only a junior. Rocco D'Andrea, the Yorktown goalie, meanwhile, has been playing very well also. Had a few big saves against Ossining, and Yorktown's 12-4 win in the semifinals earlier in the week.
Scott Troy getting it off to Rocco D'Andrea, and back out now, Jason Foley.
Usman Green now.
Who had a big game against Lakeland.
Yes, he did.
And here's Carcaterra. Looking for a shot at two-hopper, Pajednik with the save.
And according to Bob Keir, that's just what they want Carcaterra to do, is to shoot. They said, well, let him have 2 goals. We don't want him to be a feeder and have 5 or 6 assists. We'll let him have the 2 goals and no assists. John Jay now right back in the Yorktown end.
And Sirigliano back out in the perimeter. Both teams subbing on the fly liberally. Sirigliano loses it, gets it batted away, and DeAndrea comes up with it.
Charles just waited a little too long to let that shot go. Nice defense by Foley, knocked the ball away. There, of course, is another Foley on the Yorktown team, his older brother, number 34, another defenseman, John Foley. Jason, number 33.
Scott Troy, defender, gets it up to midfield.
And right now you see Yorktown setting things up, JR. This is what they did against Lakeland. The patient offense right now around the perimeter. They're going to work it. They're going to take their time. This is not what John Jay wants. But a good opportunity for the viewers to look at their zone defense. The way their 2-3 zone is set up right now.
Finn into Usman Green. Can't handle it.
Green just fanned on the shot. He would have had a goal right there, I believe, if he held on to it and let it go.
And Colsey going to try to complete the attempt for the goal. Gets it in to Finn.
That's another key, is their defense on Roy Colsey. Nice save on DeAndrea, made by Pajednik. That's Anthony DeAndrea, of course, the brother of Rocco DeAndrea.
Clears it out to Andy Nappy.
John Jay with another fast break. They don't want to slow it down. They want to just keep it moving, get it toward the crease. But got to have some time to get their short stick middies out there.
Jagan Tenfel back into the game for John Jay. And looking for a shot, Jagan Tenfel.
That was a good shot by Jason. Just didn't go in. Good save by Rocco DeAndrea.
And tries to get it off to John Foley. Errant pass gets out of bounds. It'll be John Jay's ball.
And we were talking earlier, of course, about Dom Finn going to Syracuse. And he was a teammate of Anthony Newman and Charles Sirigliano in the Empire State Games, along with several other teammates of Yorktown. But they're all going to be playing in the annual National North-South High School All-Star Game next weekend if they're not in the States. We'll tell you more about that a little later.
Todd Orlowski. Nice defense, Scott Troy, and gets it off to Sirigliano.
Right now,
may shoot it in there, in, it's good for the goal.
I was just going to say, I think they're going to have to switch to a zone defense. I really believe one-on-one coverage against Charles Sirigliano is just not going to get the job done. Yorktown is going to have to go to a zone defense. It's 3-1, John Jay.
3:03 to go in the first quarter.
And right now, a very important and I think needed timeout for Yorktown, called by Jim Turnbull. I don't think they know what hit him. This is not the same John Jay team they played in April.
A reversing of roles.
It really is. Right now, they look like they're the ones wearing the green and white uniforms.
At the early go of it, we have a surprise on our hands. John Jay in the lead, 3-1. Back with more here on VIP Cable Channel 12. The officials for today's game is Andy Kahn, Joe Peebs, Doug Young, and Bob Nelson. And Joey, must thank our hard-working statisticians and spotters for today's game, Brian Van Franken and Mike Gerosa.
Absolutely. Can't do it without him. No question about that.
3-1 John Jay, 3:03 to go in the first quarter.
And the key, of course, Jason Jagan Tenfel with those face-offs. That's the 5th straight face-off he's won. And Sean Wellen keeping good track of that for us here. 5 in a row for Jason.
And Fiacco just outside the restraining box.
Those are the perimeter people for John Jay, Fiacco and Jagan Tenfel. Not a good shot there by David Fiacco. But they do get the ball back.
Fiacco has it back again.
And indeed, Yorktown looks like they are playing his own defense.
Cut down by Scott Troy, and he comes up with the ball, loses it, gets ahead of him, now he's got it back.
Look at Anthony Newman with that steal.
Picked off Anthony Newman up to Paul Palesi.
They got a fast break. They got to get a shot off quickly if they want to capitalize on it. It's already settled. They didn't get the shot off. And we do have a flag in the backfield.
It's going to be a slashing call on Dom Finn.
And that was away from the play. That's frustration. That is frustration setting in. And Jim Turnbull very upset now with Dom Finn. You just can't take those type of penalties in this type of game. Besides the fact you're down 3-1.
Both these teams very efficient as far as not having a lot of silly penalties like offensive offsides. and
That's
slashing.
Right. In fact, one of John Jay's leading players took 2 slashing penalties against Nanuet in the semifinals. Bob Keir benched him for the remainder of the game after he got a second penalty in the third quarter.
Lacrosse is a game of skill and discipline.
It sure is, and the skilled and disciplined teams really do have an advantage, and historically, that has been Yorktown's trademark, and that's a sign that they might be coming a little bit unraveled when they take those type of penalties. So John Jay, JR with a man-up opportunity. They've got a 3-1 lead. They can't stop now.
The shot, Jagan Tenful, good, and John Jay's ahead 4-1 with just under 2 minutes to go.
And John Jay right now running their offense to perfection, running their defense to perfection. They're having the right people take the right shots. I talked all game long that Jagan Tenful and Fiacco are the guys from outside. Jason just drilled it home there. They capitalize. They make Yorktown pay for that penalty, which is so important to do. They've had Charles operating around the crease. And right now, Yorktown is going to have to make some adjustments. Already they've done it on the face-off situation. As we see out there, a familiar name, Matt Horowitz, the guy that... But we have Anthony Newman out there for John Jay.
So it's changes on both sides. You got to meet fire with fire. Let's see what we come up with. And now we have a struggle.
Look at how strong Anthony is. That was just his brute strength coming away there, but it comes out loose, and it's a loose ball. Can't keep it in bounds. Nice try by Andrew Nappy to keep it in bounds. They like to see that type of hustle.
Yorktown got to move something along here. You don't want to go into the halftime point down by a couple of points. You don't want to get the wrong end of psychology on your mind.
But remember, this is Yorktown you're dealing with. You're not dealing with Nanuet. You're not, this is Yorktown, so they can deal with almost any situation. Granted, they're not in this situation very often, but don't by any stretch think they're anywhere close to being out of this game.
I'm not counting them out. It's a fierce, tenacious team.
And they have won 10 of these things in a row, 10 of these Section 1 titles. But John Jay's just dominating right now.
Sirigliano battling with Jason Foley, and then knocked away. And John Foley now. And we have an offsides call against
Offside
Yorktown.
Against Yorktown, and John Jay will retain possession. Boy, oh boy, everything is breaking John Jay's way this afternoon. It is early yet, folks, but right now you have to be happy if you're John Jay. If nothing else, the way they're playing their style of lacrosse right now.
Would you say the refs are calling a tight or a loose whistle so far, Joe?
I think it's a very tight whistle. You do have 4 of them out there. In the big games, we usually have 3. In the big games, I guess we have 4. And right now, Bob Keir calling a timeout for John Jay. He's going to talk to his troops a little bit.
Today's game being brought to us by Bedford Hills Supply, your headquarters for Burnham Air Conditioning Systems, La Familia Restaurant for the best in pizza and great Italian food, Party Treasures, your party headquarters all year long, and Pit Stop Quick Oil Change, the best in the business with fast and efficient service. The score 4-1 John Jay, a minute 13 to go. J.R. Whalen and Joe Lombardi here at Harrison Middle School, back with more on VIP Cable Channel 12. Back now, the score 4-1 John Jay over Yorktown, a minute 13 to go. And Joe Lombardi here in the early going. Really an offensive display, an impressive display by John Jay.
But even though John Jay is dominating the play, they haven't really had that many more shots. I think right now they have a 5-4 edge, according to the stats we have. Chris Pajetnik, another key. He made about 2 or 3 good saves there. Otherwise, we have a tight ball game right now.
And Paul Palesi.
Nice save by Rocco DeAndre on a point-blank shot by Orlowski of John Jay. What's the call going to be? Who are they going to give possession to? Looks like John Jay's going to keep it once again.
The crowd would indicate it's John Jay's ball. And Sirigliano will bring it in. Out to Jagan Tenful, the score, it's good.
Yorktown had switched to a zone defense, it looks like. They're really concentrating on the crease, and right now the perimeter people, look at Joe Siska and Jason Jagan Tenful. Now the perimeter people are getting away. John Jay can't get too high right now, I tell you that. This game is anything but being over. They have to be happy with the way they're playing. They got a lot more work to do. But John Jay is really taking what the defense is giving them, and they're playing a perfectly executed game. Right now the clock's on the field. We've got 40 seconds to go in the first quarter, and John Jay, can you believe it, with a 5-1 lead. And yes, if they win, it would be an upset, and don't let anyone tell you any different.
This is the first faceoff that's taken more than 5 seconds, Joe. And Colsey in there. can't come up with it. It's taken by Wietek, and he loses it. Bob Jarosa in there as well for John Jay. And finally coming away with it, John Foley, but again, we have a call.
Yeah. It's against Yorktown. Unbelievable. John Jay will just get possession, but it is a call against Yorktown. Finally, I was going to say they finally get a face-off. Not only did they get it in their own end, but they lost possession of the ball.
Officially, it's an interference call, not a penalty against Yorktown, but
they just forfeit possession there, and that's the key, though, the forfeit possession when you got 21 seconds to go in the quarter here. John Jay gets another goal. Could be a big difference in this game.
Jagan Tenful.
With Chris Pajednik in net, too. That's another thing to keep an eye on. You just can't give away 6 goals in the first quarter and expect to win.
8 seconds and counting. Sirigliano, maybe a last-second score by the Indians. 3, 2, a second to go. And that's going to end the first quarter.
Well, they had Jagan Tenful open in the perimeter. They could have gotten him the ball just for a last shot, just like in basketball, you throw it up from long range. But I don't think they're going to complain, JR, with the way things are breaking right now. 5-1 John Jay in what is developing as a stunning upset.
I don't think we expected to have any kind of a lead by 4 in either direction by the end of the first quarter.
Well, with Yorktown, the ability for that to happen is always there against John Jay, and we've seen that. They did, after all, beat them 9-2 earlier this year and 10-2 last year. But for John Jay to have this complete turnaround against a team that really dominated them earlier this year is stunning, to say the least.
Today's game also being brought to you by South Service Center and Sunoco Station on Route 35 in Cross River. Total service that's quick and friendly too. And the Sports Barn. They're your total lacrosse headquarters located on Route 202 in Yorktown Heights. Back with second quarter action. John Jay up by 4. It's a 5-1 ball game. Back with more on VIP Cable Channel 12. Back at Harrison Middle School, 5-1 John Jay. Started the second quarter. And looking for...
Looks like we take out there on face-offs now. And Anthony Newman has come on, which is a surprise because Jagan Tenful had done so well.
Newman coming straight up the side.
Quick recap of the scoring for John Jay. Charles Sirigliano, 2 goals, 2 assists. Jason Jagan Tenful, 2 goals. Jason Drake, 1 goal and 1 assist.
And the call by the official is going to be against Jason Foley of Yorktown. And, you know, the athletic director here at the Harrison Schools, Mike Gansell, really being more than cooperative and accommodating.
These are just ideal facilities to be in. We're right at midfield in a beautiful press box here. We've got a perfect view of the field. It's been a first-class operation all the way, and we're very grateful to them. No question about that, JR. And talking about that, well, we'll take this play. And then
just at the top of the box was Drake passing it off to Jagan Tenful. Being hounded by Randy Davidoff, and back in now to Orlowski, and Drake back again. Kind of getting it around the box. Perhaps Yorktown putting on some defense here. Oh, a shot by Palesi goes off the pipe.
That's a goalie's best friend. Could have been a penalty there.
A little bit got him physical out there.
Above the shoulders, it looked like. Yorktown comes away with the loose ball. Henry Wietek, number 30. Then they lose it, JR. Now they get it back.
Gets it back up to midfield. Steve Hirsch. Up the middle, Steve Hirsch gets it off.
Just threw it away.
Aaron pass by Carcaterra. And Colsey gets it knocked out of bounds. It'll be John Jay ball.
Talking about that all-star game that Anthony Newman and Dom Finn will be competing in, that's only if they're not in the state tournament. This is the National North-South High School All-Star Game to be held at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. It's scheduled for Saturday, June 9th. That is the date that the state playoffs are scheduled at Hofstra University, Class A and B. They're going to be in Hofstra this year. Last year they were in Syracuse, and they alternate sites. Team that wins today, JR, likely will be competing in regional action Thursday at Hofstra. Probably, this team here the winner here will probably face Garden City.
Picked off by Cahill off Pajegnik. The score is good. That's Dave Smith for Yorktown. Yorktown getting...
Just a sloppy mistake there by John Jay. A sloppy pass, and Yorktown made him pay for it, and Dave Smith puts the finishing touches. They had 3 guys around Chris Pajednik, and they executed that well.
Yorktown an important goal, 5-2 John Jay. 8:37, I should say, left to go here in the second quarter. Also want to pay some thanks to Tony Conji up in the booth with us, our scorekeepers, and Dutch Pritz for helping us out, giving us all the information we need.
Dutch, of course, is the lacrosse coach at Ossining. He's up here with us.
Is Jag and Tenfel back at the face-off, taken by Nappy.
As long as John Jay dominates this face-off situation, they're going to be in the game. And I know with a team ahead 5-2, assuring that they're going to be in the game, you might scoff at that, but against Yorktown, believe me, that is something to say.
And out of the pile comes another infraction.
Against who else? Yorktown. John Jay will get possession. John Jay, JR, this is their 6th trip to the Section 1 championship final. Only one other title. And that came in 1988. The great team with their all-time leading scorer, Marty Kelly, who's playing at Nazareth, Division III, doing so well. Tommy Furman on that team. And right now, Charles Sirigliano is 4 goals behind Marty Kelly for the all-time goal scorer at John Jay.
The pass out to number 33, Jason Foley, who tries to get it inside and gets it inside to DeAndrea. Looking to clear it or dump it off to the side. And gets it off to Scott Troy.
And you talk about this defense that John Jay has put in, this 2-3 matchup zone. They employed it in 1981 in the semifinals against Byram Hills. They won 9-5. Only other time they've used it in the playoffs.
Cahill getting it in close to the goal. A struggle behind the net. And that's Carcaterra. And it's out of bounds. It'll be John Jay ball.
And you see the advantage when you play that zone. You got so many guys around where the ball is that when there is a ground ball, you're more likely to come away with it, and that's been the case.
You've got to think that Roy Colsey is just aching to explode out here.
Well, that has been the key. In the first game, Roy got away from them. They started the game with Dave Fiacco guarding him, and he was just too big for Dave Fiacco to handle. And they just never really could pick him up, and he had 4 goals. They've held him scoreless so far, and that has been a key. They've had Anthony Newman, their best player, on him, but it's a zone, so they don't have one guy keying on him. And Anthony Newman is playing one of his best games of the year right now for
gets
John
away
Jay.
with a couple shots to the head, but legal taken by the referees nonetheless, and a struggle comes in to DeAndrea. And brings it out.
Paul Palessi took a pretty hard hit there.
Refs really letting these guys play out here.
Well, they're clean hits, JR. I don't think either side can complain. They are allowing the clean hits. Lacrosse is certainly a very physical game. If you play it within the rules, you can get plenty of clean hits in there. That's why the players wear the helmets and the shoulder pads.
Fiacco with the ball top of the box. 6:40 to go. Second quarter. And the shot by Drake is good. It's 6-2 John Jay.
Jason Drake, Johnny on the spot for John Jay. Scores in an open net, puts it in his second goal of the game. 6-2 now with 6 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the first quarter. Jason Drake will be playing lacrosse next year at Roanoke College in Virginia. His roommate will be a player on John Jay by the name of Mike Whalen, who is out of this game. Injured his hand against Nanuet earlier in the week in the semifinals, but also down at Roanoke. You've got 2 players from last year's team, Mark DiBenedetto and Colin McGarren, and the goalie coach right now at John Jay, Dale Neely. He's heading down to Roanoke, too, so that's like a John Jay feeder system for Roanoke.
And Henry Wheattake now in the face-off situation and coming away with it.
Maybe Bob Keir will go. No, he won't go to Roanoke. I mean, he's got to be happy with his team right now, the way they're playing. This has to be making him very happy. You know, all the years, the stigma, people coming up to him and the players, when are you going to beat Yorktown? Yeah, you won the title. When are you going to beat Yorktown? That's the barometer. Maybe today will be the day.
Don Finn looking for the quick turnaround goal. Can't make it. John Jay protecting the crease very impressively here in the second quarter. 6:04 to go. Here come the Indians.
There's Joe Siska, the entire defense playing so well. Newman, Andrew Nappy, Joe Siska, number 36.
And we're going to have a timeout.
With a good timeout there because he's got Joe Siska bringing the ball up. You don't want Joe bringing the ball up. You want your offensive players to do that. So you're going to retain possession right now, and you're going to get the ball in the hands of the people who should be attacking with it. And
what can you imagine? Jim Turnbull is a coach who keeps his cool.
He certainly does. He doesn't say much to the players. I think right now he doesn't really. When you coach as well as he does, and when you play the schedule he does, when you play teams like Ward, Melville, and Wilton, you play the toughest schedule in the country. The players know right now what they're doing wrong. And right now, they're letting John Jay control the play. They're not being aggressive enough. They're not attacking the way they did against Lakeland. They're getting frustrated. They're taking bad penalties. They're not playing like Yorktown. There is time. There's plenty of time. They can turn it around. They just got to do it pretty soon. They can't continue playing like this for much longer and still have a shot.
I think some of our viewers may wonder, Yorktown coming into this game with more losses than John Jay, but Yorktown has a much stronger schedule. They go through the ringer during the regular season.
Oh, they had a rematch of last year's state final. They played Corning East. They play as tough a schedule as any team in America, and that is Jim Turnbull's philosophy, and I think it's a good one. You may not win all those games, but you play them. And then when you get in these situations, your team is not going to fold up the tents being down 6-2 because you've come back against a team like Ward Melville. You're tied with Ward Melville, the team that's won 70 games in a row in the fourth quarter. You have all that under your belt. So right now, Yorktown certainly is not out of this game by any stretch of the imagination. But obviously, if you're John Jay, you have to be encouraged by the way they're playing. And if they keep this up, they're going to have a very, very good chance of winning, which going into the game, I honestly don't think a lot of people gave them.
Off the timeout by John Jay, 6:58 to go. Second quarter, 6-2 John Jay. And John Jay will get the ball in about midfield. That's number 20, Peter Geiner. Off to Sirigliano. And behind the net, Paul Palesi.
Kevin Marr checks into the game, number 12. Matt Shea, number 5.
Kier going deep in his bench now.
Yeah, he's getting some new players in there. Wants to keep his players, the stamina up there so that they're ready for the call in the second half. Good move. And they're well-equipped players, too. They have a lot of depth, John Jay.
And Sirigliano looking to bring it in.
Good save.
One hop saved.
Nice save by DeAndrea.
Clears it out to Paul Elfstrom, who loses it.
I tell you, that was really fine defense by Matt Shea getting that ball. And now Kevin Marr with an opportunity to pick it up. Knocks it ahead to Shea. Ball still loose.
Both coaches in an experiment going deep in their benches.
Well, I think if you're Jim Turnbull, you want to send a message out there.
And Aaron.
Now Dominic Finn back in the game. Roy Colsley right now sitting on the sideline.
Sirigliano looking for a shot from the side.
Foley all over him, Jason Foley.
The shot in front of the net. And we're going to have...
And it's
holding the ball.
Yorktown will get possession. I think that's the first one that's gone Yorktown's way all afternoon. I think Jim Turnbull is telling the officials, hey, it's about time. It's a good thing they don't keep that statistic on the scoreboard because I know where his finger would be pointing right now.
4:33 to go, second quarter, 6-2 John Jay. The storyline of today's game so far, it's all John Jay. Yorktown having a couple of peaks in there, but not the Yorktown we know.
It's all John Jay, JR, but they're only ahead by 4 goals. Keep that in mind. They're only ahead by 4 goals. Long way to go. And if this is as bad as it gets for Yorktown, they're not in too bad a shape. I think we're going to have a close game. I think it's going to be a close game all the way. I'll tell you that right now.
Colsey out to Carcaterra. Back into Colsey looking for the shot. A one-hop is wide. And Cahill.
Thrown away by Yorktown. John Jay will take over. Just an errant pass right there.
More subs. Fiacco in for John Jay.
Good defense by the long stick middies. Bob Gerosa. You got Dan Roselle. And, of course, number 7, Andrew Nappy out there. Doing a fine job for the Indians.
Randy Davidoff back in for the Cornhuskers. And Pojednik.
Pojednik does not like to come out of that net too much. That's about as far as you'll ever see him come out, and he throws it away. Throws the ball away right there. He didn't have enough help. That's time for Anthony Newman to take charge.
You know, another player who's waiting to explode also coming into the game now for Yorktown is Usman Green.
He's a very talented athlete. There's no question about that. I know Lakeland had a lot of respect for him. He was taking a lot of hits against Lakeland. Number 21 of Yorktown. Now Dominic Finn. I think this is only the second or third time he's touched the ball in the game, and Yorktown doesn't have it for long. That's Andrew Nappy picking it up.
Colsey gets it once again, gets it out to Dom Finn, who can't handle it. And there's Anthony Newman, long stick midi.
Key to that play was a hit by Dan Roselle, number 22, and an end-to-end rush by Newman.
Out to Sirigliano.
Just good defense right there. They got the ball to Palesi, and he took a nice hit by Scott Troy of Yorktown, number 32.
And here's Usman Green looking to make his mark in the game for Yorktown. Back
and forth. Becomes an unsettled game now.
And we haven't a call by the officials.
We have a timeout. That's what it is. Timeout for Yorktown. Right now, Yorktown has the ball. Jim Turnbull knows. Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. He wants to get something good here. He wants to get a good shot and cut that deficit.
You want to get into halftime on a high note.
It's absolutely a 3-goal deficit at halftime. Very workable if you're Yorktown. And I think that's what he'd like to see here.
6-2 John Jay back with more after this on VIP Cable Channel 12. Back at Harrison Middle School, J.R. Whalen and Joe Lombardi here with you on VIP Cable Channel 12. 6-2 John Jay over Yorktown, 2:58 to go in a sectional final of Section 1 Class B Boys Lacrosse. Dom Finn coming in for Yorktown in green. John Jay in the purple and white.
And this was what the timeout was for, to set up for a good shot. And anything by Dom Finn's a good shot. That kid can shoot from anywhere, inside or out, and just a nice save by Chris Pajednik. But Yorktown gets the ball right back.
Gonna try it again. And Carcaterra's shot is wide.
It's a nice shot by Steve Carcaterra. Remember what I told you earlier in the first quarter. That's John Jay's defensive plan. They want Steve Carcaterra to shoot because this kid has about 50 assists. That's what he does. He's a feeder. So they want him to be shooting on goal. That means he's not feeding. He's not doing what he specializes in, and that's what he has been doing right now for Yorktown. Their defense has done a masterful job so far, and the old halftime adjustments are going to have to come to play here because Jim Turnbull is going to have to make some.
2:22 to go, second quarter. John Jay looking to increase its lead before the halftime mark. And Sirigliano comes away with it.
Hits the back of the net. 2 minutes to go, second quarter of play. It's John Jay 6 and Yorktown 2.
John Foley getting it out to a crowd. Aaron pass goes long into the box. It'll be Carcaterra looking for it. It was about a 4-on-2.
Good body work by Bob Girosa, getting his man out of the play, and John Jay takes over. Nice play by Bob Girosa, number 47 for the Indians. 10 straight Section 1 titles for the Yorktown Cornhuskers. Right now it's a streak that is very much in jeopardy.
They're going to be earning this one if they win it.
If they win it, they sure will. It's not going to be like last year. It does not look like at this point. Of course, last year these two teams met, and Yorktown won 10-2.
Dave Fiacco gets it knocked away by Carcaterra. Looking for an assist, and he gets it out.
Smith now. Dave Smith. Got two Smiths on Yorktown. Dave is 16. Paul is number 17.
The shot wide by Dave Smith.
Dave is a senior midi, and Paul, number 17, is a junior attacker for the Cornhuskers.
It'll be Yorktown ball. A minute 18 to go for Yorktown to put something together to get this half ended on a high note. Cahill off to Carcaterra. John Jay protecting that crease. Out to Colsey, shot Colsey.
It goes wide and now it's loose. And good play there by Joe Siska, helping out Pajednik.
Can't let that ball walk around too much in front of that goal. And the pass, long pass picked up by Yorktown, then taken away, Sirigliano.
There you see Charles's stick skills coming to play. Todd really should have had that pass, Todd Orlowski. Just wasn't ready for it. Maybe he lost it in the sun. Another thing to keep in mind, second half, Chris Pajednik's going to be in the goal on to our left. And that is the goal that is looking right into the sun, the setting sun.
Todd Orlowski will bring it in with 42 seconds remaining. 6-2 the Indians on top. Orlowski into Fiacco. Brian Duperzel holding him out. And Fiacco getting it in.
That was a little give and go of Palesi and Fiacco. Fiacco just didn't come up with it.
Wheatte coming away with it, gets it across field. Dave Smith. And we have a timeout, Yorktown. Good move by Turnbull?
Sure, you have a lot of timeouts to use, and right now, obviously, as we said at the last timeout, about 2 minutes earlier, he wants to draw to within 3, much different than being down by 4 at halftime, although even if it ends up like this, Yorktown's still very much in this game. You have to have the utmost respect in the world for this team because they have earned it. They had a streak of 126 wins against Section 1 foes that was broken in 1987. JR, in their 25-year history, they have had one losing season, and that was 1979. Jerry Walsh was the coach. Jerry Walsh led them to the state finals 4 years in a row after that. They went 8-11 that year, and that record stands out like a sore thumb on Yorktown's ledger. I think it was just the chemistry of the team wasn't right that year, and not a lot of senior leadership from talking with the people associated with Yorktown. So that 1979 team, certainly the exception, the year that Yorktown became mortals. Since then, they have been immortal as far as Section 1 is concerned. 10 straight titles. To put that streak in perspective, that is just the equivalent of anything in the professional level ever done by the Montreal Canadiens, the Boston Celtics, anyone you want to name. It's that type of majesty and that type of dynasty that is in danger here today.
17 seconds left in the half. Yorktown with possession. Dom Finn going to bring it in to Roy. I beg your pardon, to Anthony DeAndrea.
They don't have much time, JR. Got to get a shot. You just want to get a shot.
Off to Carcaterra. Shot Colsey's good. That's exactly what Yorktown needed.
It sure is. They executed that perfectly. They got the shot off at the perfect time with 7 seconds to go. Now they go into the half with a little bit of a psychological lift right there. So important. Just like in basketball, a player hitting a three-pointer at the buzzer before the half ends. I know a lot of coaches like Bobby Knight and Rick Pitino feel that is so important to go into the half. Right now, John Jay has played one of the best games they've ever played, one of the best halves in their school history, yet they're a little bit deflated right now.
We take, and Jagan Temple on the face-off, taken. Well, not taken by We Take. It was a struggle. That's the end of the half.
We are going to have quite a game.
That's the end of the first half. The score, John Jay 6 and Yorktown 3, Section 1 final of Class B Boys Lacrosse. Today's game being brought to you by Bedford Hills Supply. They'll keep your heating and cooling systems in peak condition and top-notch shape. La Familia for the best in pizza and great Italian food. Party Treasures at Routes 35 and 121 in Cross River. Back with halftime after this on VIP Cable Channel 12. Back with second half action. 6-3 John Jay. Just started the third quarter. 9:50 to go. J.R. Whalen, Joe Lombardi here with you.
We were talking about the face-off situation. Yorktown has won the opening face-off of the second half. That was the key in the first half. John Jay's domination of the face-off situation. Again, the key point that we talked about with Chuck Howard and we were talking about throughout the first half. All these things going in John Jay's favor. They dominated the first half. Folks, they're only up by 3 goals. A lot of lacrosse to play. Yorktown not in bad shape here. Great save by Chris Pajednik.
Shot by Dave Smith and saved by Pajednik and gets it out.
Point-blank range, and that is what they're going to need, JR. That's how they beat Wilton. Just a great game from Chris Pajednik.
The pass by Gerosa as Aaron pass Rigliano will be out of bounds. And it'll be Yorktown ball. I think that John Jay should fear turning this into a half-and-half game. Turning this half over to Yorktown.
You just can't do that and expect to win the game. I mean, they're going to have to play maybe not as well as they did in the first half. Very hard to have 2 halves like that, but close to it if they're going to beat Yorktown. That's what it takes to beat the Yorktown Cornhuskers unless they're really out of their game. And I don't think in a Section 1 final game they're ever going to be out of their game for 4 quarters. It might happen during the regular season every now and then, but not during the Section 1 finals. Last year they lost to Mayapack 3-2. This year they lost to Suffolk. Might happen every now and then in the regular season. Not here, though.
Jason Foley down the field for Yorktown. Gets it behind the net to Carcaterra. And out to Colsey. The shot Colsey is...
Another great save by Chris Pajednik, JR. 2 great saves.
And here comes Anthony Newman.
Chris Pajednik doesn't come up big. Yorktown's down by 1 goal.
Midfield is Newman. Almost an open shot he's got.
That's like Bobby Orr, an end-to-end rush, and just a nice play by Jason Foley coming from behind to knock the ball away from that long stick. To appreciate how hard it is to run up and down the floor with a long stick and control the ball. I mean, that's a very tough thing to do, and if you're going to have a guy defend you, very easy to knock it away, which Jason Foley did.
And DeAndrea dumps it off to Jason Foley. Anthony DeAndrea out to Colsey. John Jay 3 across in front of that crease. The shot, Colsey, is a one-hop and it is wide.
And right now, Yorktown moving their offense in, moving it in and toward the crease. And remember what we talked about in the pregame show, John Jay's defense designed to push them away from the crease and force them to shoot from the perimeter. Another good save by Pajednik, only he throws it away. And we were talking about that, the trouble he's had clearing the ball. He's good at stopping it. He does have trouble clearing it, and that comes with experience. Every year you see the progression in Chris Pajednik, and that's one phase of his game he's really going to have to work on, is clearing that ball after making the save.
7:22 to go.
Now the ground ball situation.
Carcajera tosses it into traffic. It'll be a holding call.
It's against John Jay.
And there's perhaps the second break of the game for Yorktown. Maybe this is on an upswing for Yorktown this half.
It really is. I mean, they've had some good shots. They're dominating play already, and only Chris Pajednik has kept the score what it is, 6-3. Same score we had at halftime.
Carcajera behind the net, the score!
And right now, little breakdown in the John Jay defense. Chris Pajednik upset. Steve Carcajera, who will be attending Herkimer Community College next year. He is the feeder. And there he scores for Yorktown. After threatening throughout the early going, they finally get the first goal of the second half. 6-4 now. And here we go again with the face-offs.
7:07 to go. We take in there. Jagan Temple in there for John Jay. Third quarter action. And Jagan Temple being hacked by We Take. And we'll have a call.
That'll be against Yorktown. It'll go to John Jay. John Jay needed that call. Boy, did they need that call. Yorktown just completely dominating here in the third quarter.
Also sponsoring today's game, Sal's Service Center in Sunoco Station. Total service that's quick and friendly, too. The Sports Bar and your headquarters for lacrosse. John Jay with possession.
Looks like Yorktown is back in that man-to-man defense.
Jagan Temple thrown to the ground.
They're going to call a penalty on that. That was a borderline call. And they do decide to call the push. It'll be a 30-second pushing penalty against Yorktown. John Jay with a much-needed man-up opportunity here.
It seemed as if we had more physical play not called in the first half.
Well, I think sometimes it does tighten up in the second half. That was a call, a borderline call, but really I don't think either coach too surprised that it was called.
Palesi with a shot. It is no good, off wide to the left. And Orlowski.
Well, on a 30-second man out on net you get, and John Jay shoots it wide. Would have been a big goal for the Indians. But they do come back with the ball. Sirigliano in the corner. It's drawn loose, though, and Jason Foley comes away with it. He slides, though, on the turf.
Slips up and away with it. Looks. And then Sirigliano with a backhand pass.
I think Charles tried getting a little bit too...
A hook pass over to Jagan Temple, who picks it up, gets it off to
Gary Gate and Paul Gate a little bit too much.
Sirigliano taking a beating from...
I don't like to see the behind-the-back pass in any sport. I just don't think it's necessary.
Unless your name is Marichek from Syracuse. And the stick knocked out of Sirigliano's...
Getting a penalty there. But Yorktown throws it away. Uncharacteristically. And the penalty's over. So John Jay not able to get anything on the man-up opportunity. They do, though, retain possession here. Jason Drake, number 10, is going to be inbouncing the ball on the far sideline.
Ryan Duperzell in for the Cornhuskers.
6-4, John Jay on top, early third quarter.
6:35 to go. Drake loses it, gets it back again.
Now they're switching to his zone, and it pays off because they come away with the ball.
And nice defense by Jagan Temple, but then gave it off.
And look how well DeAndrea clears the ball for Yorktown. And that's a pass, though, that should have been caught by We Take. And right now it's loose. But that was a good clear.
Carcajera and scores! It's a one-point game already, Joe.
Well, Carcajera camped out all alone in front of the net. And he has scored 2 straight goals here in the second half. 5 game. It has been a tale of 2 halves. And right now, the Yorktown Cornhuskers dominating the second half. And they're down by 1 now.
If you're Bob Keir, do you take a timeout now?
If you've been with your team all year and you know their makeup, you may not have to. But I think in this situation, you were right. He felt he needed a timeout, and you can't really argue that they do.
Bob?
I mean, they certainly have been outplayed here, and a 3-goal lead in very rapid fashion. And without a few good saves by Pajednik, it would have been a lot faster than it was. So right now, they are really going to have to make some major adjustments.
Coach Keir going to talk it over with the players. Back with more. It's a 6-5 ball game. John Jay on top. Back with more on VIP Cable Channel 12. Quarter, 6-5 John Jay. The face-off. We take in Jagan Tenful. Jagan Tenful comes away with it for John Jay. John Jay looking to pull away now. Yorktown coming back in dramatic fashion from the halftime, from the first quarter, I should say. Down several points and back now to a 6-5 ball game.
And Charles Sirigliano has been involved in a lot of situations like this in football as well as lacrosse. That was a nice shot there by Todd Orlowski.
Perhaps not totally intent.
No, it wasn't. I think he had no choice. He knew he was going to lose the ball and just fired it away with his back to the net.
Brian Duperzell for the Cornhuskers. Almost all alone down the field. Gets it off.
Tie game.
To Dave Marr. And the shot is...
Utter domination right now. Yorktown, 6 shots on goal in this half. They've scored on 3 of them. John Jay has still not gotten a shot on goal.
It's a tie game. 4:30 to go in the third quarter. Now we're approaching barn burner status, Joe Lombardi.
And Dave Smith showing that someone other than Steve Carcaterra can score here in the second half for Yorktown. Carcaterra with 2 goals, and now some guy named Smith, no, Dave Smith, scores the goal for Yorktown. We're all tied up, 6-6.
And the face-off attempted by Dan Roselle. Anthony Newman trying to scoop it up.
Forward possession to Yorktown. They called Anthony Newman for a push. A little bit of frustration there on Anthony's part. And now is where the experience of playing that tough schedule comes to play for Yorktown. We saw it in the Lakeland game. It's where they really come on and where they play their type of game. And we've seen it here.
Smith and the Colsey behind the net to Carcaterra. Colsey for the score. It's good. Yorktown goes up ahead on the score by Roy Colsey, who we said before, looking to explode. This
may even need another timeout right now. I don't think they know what hit them. And right now, everybody getting involved. Roy Colsey back in the offense. 4 unanswered goals. They now lead for the first time in the game, 7-6, with 4 minutes and 7 seconds to go in the game. John Jay, as much as they outplayed Yorktown in the first half, now it's just completely switched, and now it is completely dominating here.
Jagan Tenful for John Jay.
We mentioned how important that goal was, too, late in the second quarter with 7 seconds to go. And that has certainly proven to be the case.
John Jay must stay in this now. Amazing, we were saying just the opposite about John Jay in the first half of this ball game.
And right now, things is not even going their way. First Orlowski slips, then he doesn't get a good shot on goal. But they still have the ball. That's Dave Fiacco inside.
Fiacco being kept out of the box, being hacked by Wietek. Comes in for a shot, can't get the ball.
And that's the zone defense that Yorktown now playing. You see how effective it is. They just swarm around the ball carrier. Much more effective than the man-to-man they were going with.
Out to Jason Foley, who can't handle it, but then he picks it up.
They're getting a lot of fast breaks, and John Jay very slow getting back. I don't know if fatigue is a factor right now, but they are very slow getting back. There they were able to prevent the fast spin. 3 of their goals have been on the fast break here in the second half. 3 of their 4 goals.
They have, it looks like a slashing call on Yorktown.
It'll go John Jay's way. They'll take over.
If there's anything any team in any sport wants in the second half, it's momentum.
Oh, absolutely, and that was why that goal was so important at the end of the second quarter. He called the timeout, Coach Jim Turnbull, set up a good play, and right now they have really carried that over into the second half. And right now, John Jay needs any kind of break for them right now. Anything, a man-up opportunity even, let alone a goal.
Fiacco trying to get it inbound, frustrated. And can't get away with it. A dangerous place to lose the ball. Gets it back and loses it again.
So Dave Fiacco not getting any help. As a result, Yorktown with a steal and a shot. Never happened, folks.
Carcaterra with the shot, bounces off wide. And there's Cahill in there. And Pojednik way out of the cage. You have an interference call on John Jay.
Well, they really squandered that opportunity. Problems with clearing the ball and getting it in bounds, the fundamentals of lacrosse. And that is really where they are having problems in the second half in that area. The stick skills, controlling the ball, and Yorktown has just taken over at this point.
Carcaterra. That's Colsey, can't handle it, and here's Gerosa, and he loses it. The Indians can't hold on to the ball this half. 2:08 to go, third quarter. 7-6 Yorktown, pick across to Smith.
That's Dave Marr.
Dave Marr, I beg your pardon.
Carcaterra, nice feed to
Colsey, the shot, good.
Well, now Steve Carcaterra, after opening the half with 2 straight goals, is doing what he does best, and that is to feed the ball. And he finds, and right now the shot situation is getting worse and worse here in the second half. It is 8-1. 8-1 in favor, of course, of Yorktown.
8-7 Yorktown, 1:52 to go, third quarter. Today's game being brought to you by La Familia for the best in pizza and great Italian food, and the Sports Barn, your lacrosse headquarters. Yorktown over John Jay. The face-off. And a 2-on-2 with nobody with possession yet. And the refs are going to call against John Jay. Looks like an illegal procedure call.
And even the calls in the first half, they were all going John Jay's way. I don't think Yorktown got a call their way until late in the second quarter. Right now, conversely, that situation now being applied to Yorktown. Just all the calls going Yorktown's way. And right now, you know, anyone who had any question why this team won 10 straight Section 1 titles can't have any questions right now. I mean, they have really shown their mettle today. As they do every year at this time. They don't beat themselves. Now they're getting back into their unsettled game. They're running the clock. They're controlling the ball.
Four corners offense for the most part. Now Dom Finn coming in for the shot. Going to think about it. Back out in Cahill. Dave Marr into Finn. Finn looking for the shot into Usman Green. It gets it out to Colsey.
They give it to John Jay now.
52 seconds remaining. Third quarter action. 8-6 Yorktown. J.R. Whalen, Joe Lombardi here with you on VIP Cable Channel 12 at Harrison Middle School. Section 1 top seed Yorktown and second seed John Jay. The winner moving on to Hofstra University in state playoff action.
And you talk about the state situation, the state playoffs and the sectional playoffs. This is only, they won in Class A and earlier just Section 1 when they didn't differentiate between Class A and B before that. And now John Jay, only their second year with Yorktown, and they know who the enemy is because last year they met them in the final, and now they are, after winning the title in '88, Yorktown's final year in Class A. In fact, Coach Bob Keir gave serious consideration to moving up to Class A this year, which you can do if you're a B school, just to avoid Yorktown. He said the determining factor was if you win the section, he didn't want to play Ward Melville. Ward Melville's won 70 games in a row, but I think you got to worry about getting out of the section first.
That's right. It's good philosophy nonetheless. Sorigliano out to Palisi.
And the winner of this game, whether it be Yorktown or whether it be John Jay, will have to deal with Garden City down the road, I believe. A very strong team, of course, from Long Island, the Long Island Powers. And don't forget, those teams are going to have a home field advantage, Ward Melville and Garden City.
Fiacco and Wietek in a battle for the ball. John Jay looking to get a shot off. And that's the end of the third quarter. A third quarter where Yorktown capitalized tremendously. So 8-6, back with more fourth quarter action in this section final on VIP Cable Channel 12. Yorktown leading John Jay 8-6 in this sectional final. A full 10 minutes to go in regulation. This game being brought to you by Pit Stop Quick Oil Change. Get your oil changed quickly in Mount Kisco, Poughkeepsie, and Wappingers Falls. Party Treasures, your party headquarters all year long. And La Familia for the best pizza and great Italian food. In Bedford Hill Supply, go see Wizard Scarduzio, the Wiz. He's the man at Bedford Hill Supply, 332 Adams Street in Bedford Hills. Face-off, fourth quarter. Yorktown by 2. Jagan Tenful, now with possession, loses it again.
Yorktown has scored 6 unanswered goals, 5 in that third quarter. They just wiped out John Jay 5-0. They lead now 8-6, opening minutes of the final quarter. In that faithful period, if you're John Jay, 2 goals by Steve Carcaterra, 2 goals by Roy Colsey. He had the last 2. In between, Dave Smith scored. Carcaterra also, JR, with 2 assists. So 2 and 2 for Steve Carcaterra in that third quarter, doing what he did best as Yorktown solved that John Jay 2-3 matchup zone.
Picked off by John Jay. Here comes Nappy. Gets it off to Orlowski. John Jay needing a couple of scores to stay in this one. 9:15 to go, fourth quarter. Orlowski looking for a pass. Great defense by Foley. The shot is good. It's John Jay. Now only behind by 1. It's 8-7.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Indians. Todd Orlowski with his 41st goal of the year for John Jay, for the junior. And they end the streak of Yorktown, 6 unanswered goals. And right now, John Jay has to get fired up right now, because this is it. This is crunch time right now. Every possession so key, every shot so crucial, and of course, every face-off, oh, so important. And Jason Jagentenfel out there against Henry Wheatake, number 30.
John Jay in white. Jagentenfel comes up with it.
And that's how they got their other goal. Jagentenfel won the face.
It's knocked away in an errant pass. It'll be out of bounds, and it'll go
to Yorktown. Unless they're calling interference.
We have a discussion among the officials. And that's just an out-of-bounds play. It'll go.
It will go to Yorktown. 8-7 is our score. We expected a close game.
We got it.
We got it, all right. And considering the series history, that in itself is an accomplishment for John Jay. Anytime you can play Yorktown close into the fourth quarter, you've done a good job. And, of course, that's not going to be much consolation. They're out to win this thing, but they have provided an exciting game.
Carcaterra out to Usman Green, looking for a shot. Falls down, loses his stick. We're going to have a penalty, it looks like, on John Jay.
Yorktown will maintain the possession. You know, going into this game, in the 10 meetings, of course, all won by Yorktown, they had outscored John Jay 110-47. Of course, that averages out to about a final score of about 11-5 or 11-4 or so.
Inbound, Roy Colsey. 8:30 to go, fourth quarter, out to Carcaterra.
DeAndrea loses it, Anthony, but he'll scoop it back up. John Jay sticking with that zone defense.
At this point in the game, it's going to be defense that wins it for you. Both teams.
If you're John Jay, a couple of goals, too. I mean, you can play the best defense you want, but they don't score, they're not going to win the game. In that third quarter, they didn't know what hit them. They're at their best, John Jay, when they are freewheeling, aggressive, and attacking. And I think they got to get back to that. Of course, you got to get the ball first. First thing I tell them is get the ball.
The Cornhuskers will take possession, will continue possession after the timeout. Dom Finn, 7:50 to go. Finn looking for a shot.
Good save by Pajednik. Another good save by Chris Pajednik.
And Dave Marr getting it out to Carcaterra. And up to DeAndrea. The shot is good. Just like that, Yorktown taking a 2-goal command.
Well, Anthony DeAndrea is one of the main men on the perimeter for Yorktown, along with Dom Finn. Huge goal right there for John Jay, for Yorktown and for John Jay. It is 9-7 right now, a 2-goal lead. So John Jay, after closing to within 1, back down now by 2. No assist on that play. Anthony DeAndrea all the way. And now he adds his name to the scoring column for Yorktown. It's been very well rounded.
Jagentenfel comes away with it. Tripped up. Taken by Davidoff, who gets it off. Subs on the fly out to Dom Finn now.
Key face-off victory there for Yorktown. They get the ball right back. They've got the ball in a 2-goal lead. We've got 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Section 1 Class B championship game.
Great save, Pujednik. The shot by Finn.
Really was a good save on a shot by Dom Finn. He was screened on the play, still came up with it. That would have been a nice shot by Colsey. He could have shot that in midair if he caught the ball. Roy Colsey, what an athlete.
Schools it up.
Another good save by Chris Pujednik. Now is where the clearing comes to play. And once again, trouble clearing the ball.
The pass by Pujednik picked up by Scott Troy. Mix up on the sideline, scooped off to Finn, and back to Colsey. Colsey may go for it. The shot, a one hop, is going to go high and wide.
John Jay will take over now. They should have taken over a few minutes ago. They just weren't able to clear the ball. Actually, they're going to give it to Yorktown. Yorktown with the ball. Carcaterra is going to take it in.
6:14 remaining, fourth quarter.
What a second half for Steve Carcaterra. Halftime, faced with the possibility of playing his last game at Yorktown after a great 3-year varsity career. He said, hold on, no way.
This Section 1 final game being brought to you by Pit Stop Quick Oil Change, the best in the business, fast and efficient service. Yorktown with possession, and a call by the officials that's going to go against Yorktown. John Jay will take over possession.
Able to come away with that pass.
That's the drawback of having a gorgeous day, is you'll get the sun in your eyes if you're going in the right direction, or the wrong direction.
That's what I think happened. That might not, he might have just missed the pass, or might have gone in a different direction, but the sun is shining down right in their faces. So John Jay's Fiacco takes it over. And this has been a problem. David Fiacco bringing the ball in, and three guys converge on him, and it's, I don't care who you are, you're going to have a tough time getting that ball away, and right there, thrown away.
Fiacco can't get it away to Siska, loses it out of bounds. It'll go over to Yorktown. John Jay's got to avoid the 3-on-1 situations, like you saw Fiacco there.
Well, I think on those inbounds plays, you might want a bigger player taking that ball inbounds. Someone who's not going to, face that type of swarming defense. They see Dave Fiacco with the ball, they just converge on him. And you just can't afford in the game like this, down by 2 goals in the fourth quarter, when you get possession, and just give it up like that. I mean, especially against a team like Yorktown. You just can't make those mistakes.
Dom Finn out to DeAndrea, the shot!
And it results in a goal right
It's
there.
good!
That might have been the knockout blow right now for John Jay.
Just gets beyond Pujednik. And if you're Coach Keir, you got to pull something out of your hat now and get your kids motivated. Not that they've lost the motivation, but you've got to get them out there to come from behind.
Second straight goal now by Anthony DeAndrea. The offense, everyone getting in on the act as far as the Yorktown offense is concerned. Roy Colsey, Steve Carcaterra, you name it. And now Anthony DeAndrea. And we were talking about that inbounds play. You just can't give away possession like that. It results in a goal. Right now, 10-7, Yorktown on top. Doesn't look good for John Jay after that impressive first half. Just been all Yorktown here, second half.
Yorktown getting the face-off, out to number 26, Steve Hirsch. Out to the goal, it'll go wide. Sponsoring today's game, Bedford Hill Supply, your headquarters for Burnham Air Conditioning Systems. Your man at Bedford Hill Supply is Wizard Scarduzio. 4:54 to go, 10-7, Yorktown, Section 1 final. Yorktown and John Jay, the winner, moving on to state final action, state playoff action.
Of course, this is the Section 1 Class B final. Lakeland squaring off against Suffern for the Class A title over at Rye High School.
Siska for John Jay, trying to get it out. Bad pass, Siska. And then Newman with the pickup out to Drake. Drake getting slapped.
Yorktown just swarming all over whoever has the ball. Look how they converge on Siska there. Got 3 guys on him.
Drake with it for the Indians, loses it. Nice defense, Foley.
Jason Drake showing some good speed there, just couldn't control the ball. Had about 3 guys on him. And Yorktown, as they often do, coming away with a ground ball.
And a call by the official before a shot can be made. It's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct on number 33, Yorktown, Jason Foley.
Well, we have no idea what precipitated that. It could have been something he said to an official. It could have been something he said to another player or did to another player. So, unsportsmanlike conduct, a call against Jason Foley.
He'll sit it out for a minute. You wonder why that would happen when they're up by 3.
Well, like I say, it could have been something he said. Was it something I said? The old line there. But referees in a championship game usually aren't going to call something like that. These referees have been calling a very close game, so it is in keeping, though, with the way they have called it.
Here's Sorigliano with the ball for one of the first times.
And obviously you don't want to give John Jay a man-up opportunity in that situation, taking that type of penalty. But here right now, John Jay is their own worst enemy. You know, talking to Charles Sorigliano this week, he said, I think in order to beat Yorktown, right now we're going to have to overcome ourselves. We're as big an enemy as anyone. If we play well and do the things we can do, we can beat them. And we saw that in the first half. They won the first half, 6-3. And in the second half, though, they are being blown out.
4:15 to go, 10-7 Yorktown. Should say Sorigliano with the ball for the first time this half. Not the game. He had a very impressive first half. Being put in check this second half by Yorktown.
John Jay has been outscored in the second half, if you're just joining us now, by a count of 7-1 after leading 6-3 at halftime. Just total domination by the Yorktown Cornhuskers.
Dom Finn deep in the box, being hounded by Nappy.
And of course, if you had to point to a turning point, it had to be that late goal just before the end of the second quarter. We thought it might be at the time, and indeed, it proved to be. It was the first of 6 unanswered goals for Yorktown that just changed the game.
Finn loses it, up to Sorigliano with a shot. It's going to be high, picked up by Davidoff. And he loses it. Wheatek looking for, and the long stick comes through. Wheatek. And he can't hold on to it. Here's Sorigliano again, a chance for a score for Charles Sorigliano coming in. The shot
hit the
it's going to say outside the cage.
Yeah, outside the net there. There's that behind the back pass.
The backward pass.
You know, I think the Gary and Paul Gate are great players, but I don't think everything they do goes in high school. Does it play in Peoria? I don't know. I don't think it does.
It plays in Yorktown. And we have a timeout. Yorktown with 3:05 to go, 10-7. Yorktown leading John Jay, fourth quarter action, Section 1, Class B final. Back with more as we wind down regulation play on VIP Cable Channel 12. Just over 3 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Yorktown by 3 over John Jay. And Joe Lombardi, statistics almost on the side of Yorktown as we head toward the home stretch. We're in the home stretch.
We sure are. I tell you, one number you can't avoid is the number 11. If Yorktown wins today, and it looks like they will win their 11th straight Section 1 title, and it will be their 11th straight win against John Jay. They'll be 11-0 against the Indians. But of course, the 11th straight Section 1 title is a little bit more meaningful to Jim Turnbull and his players.
Dave Smith deep in the box. It's a huddle almost between Yorktown and John Jay. Carcaterra up with it. The shot! Cahill is saved nicely. Just now it's saved by Projednik. Couldn't get a hold of it.
And again, can't clear the ball out.
And back into the hands of Yorktown.
That is just... Chris Projednik is an outstanding goaltender. He's got a great stick. He's just got to be able to clear the ball. And that has been a big problem. And right now, Yorktown gets the ball right back, and Colsey would have had a wide-open shot right there. As I said, we've seen the progression in Chris Projednik every year. And right there, a stick broken in half. Roy Colsey's stick broken in half by John Jay's Chris Blake. I've never seen that before.
No call by the officials.
Of course it wasn't intentional. Yeah, we're right.
Picked up, Davidoff.
That's what you call a Pyrrhic victory.
You win the war, but lose the battle. Were you a history major?
I was a history minor. What is this, a hockey game? Minor, major?
One-hop shot.
Bob Jarosa. Fast break there, and he tried a one-hopper, goes wide. Just a minute 39 to go in this one, folks. Yorktown looking at its 11th straight Section 1 title, second straight Class B title. John Jay, third straight year in the Section 1 Class B finals. They won it in '88, lost to Yorktown last year, 10-2, and they're losing now, 10-7.
Yorktown kind of not getting its direction in line first half, but then things fall into place second half. Timeout. by Coach Turnbull.
And that's the schedule, the strength of their schedule coming into play, and the experience of their players. These kids grow up playing lacrosse. By the time they're in the 8th, 9th grade, their stick skills superior at that point to many other players on other varsity teams throughout Section 1. But John Jay with a good effort today. They have really put up a good fight against Yorktown. It's very little consolation, obviously, but certainly they were not embarrassed here today. And they really controlled play in that first half and have to be pleased with that. Unfortunately, everything became unraveled in the second half of play for John Jay. Of course, Yorktown now looking to defend its state title.
Looking for its 11th, you said, on a string.
Well, looking for its 11th sectional title and second straight state title and third state title overall. John Jay, of course, has never won a state title, has won one Section 1 title. That was, as we said earlier, back in 1988. And the program started, the John Jay program, in 1979, founded by Bob Keir, of course, the coach now who played under Jim Turnbull at Yorktown. Bob Keir, a lifetime record of 180 wins, 82 losses, and 2 ties at John Jay. Jim Turnbull's been at Yorktown ever since the program started back in 1965, left for a brief stint in the late 70s, early 80s. Jerry Walsh took over for a while, came back, and of course has been there ever since.
Final minute 39 to go. Yorktown going to try to milk the clock.
They sure are, JR. Right now, I don't think they care if they get a shot off right now. They're just going to go back to the old 4 corners right now. That's a little bit of a long pass. I don't think they wanted to take that long a pass.
We take.
And John Jay's just got attacked, just like that, just what they're doing there.
Knocked away. Usman Green. Haven't heard much from Usman Green today.
Well, we've heard from everyone else.
And Dom Finn.
It has been a very well-rounded scoring attack for Yorktown this afternoon.
And that's one of the advantages Jim Turnbull recognizes on his team.
And their experience and poise, the tale of 2 halves. After getting completely outplayed in the first half, some teams, would just fold it up at that point, but not Yorktown. They were only down by 3 goals at the half, and just have dominated here.
A minute to go, 4th quarter.
And now Yorktown, as you say, just playing that clock a little bit.
DeAndrea off to Dom Finn, maybe looking for a shot, but not. Falls down, gets it away, and with 42 seconds to go, we've got an interference call on Yorktown. And with less than a minute, clocks on the field. They bring the clocks out into the field to let the officials and players know exactly how long is left on the timer.
One of the intricacies of the game of lacrosse. You don't see that in any other sport. It's always fun hearing from people who go to their first lacrosse game wondering what a woman is doing standing on the field at the most important juncture of the game. And of course, in the last...
Who's not clad in a uniform, of course.
Right. Well, even if a woman were clad in a uniform, I think it would be somewhat unusual in Section 1 Class B boys lacrosse final.
Okay, I'll give you that much. Orlowski for John Jay, 24 seconds to go.
I don't know what you thought I was thinking. That's all I meant by that.
I just don't want to ruffle any feathers, you know me.
Oh,
Fiacco can't held onto it.
We've got 15 seconds to go in the game. Yorktown will win its 11th straight Section 1 championship.
Carpetera
and they are still alive in defense of their state championship.
9 seconds to go. And celebrations kicking off now on the Yorktown bench.
And the John Jay careers of many fine seniors coming to an end here today. Of course, you go down the line, Charles Sirigliano, Anthony Newman, Matt Shea, Andrew Nappy, Todd
4 seconds.
Or Jason Drake at least, and on down the line.
That's the game. Yorktown, the victor, 10-7 over John Jay. Dramatic fashion, coming back from behind from a first half deficit.
The champions once again, Yorktown.
Section 1 Class B champions, Yorktown Cornhuskers. The John Jay Indians had it first half, but could not hold on to experience and tenacity of Yorktown, and it paid off.
Absolutely, the experience and the poise of Yorktown, their skill has a little something to do with it too. This is a tremendously talented team, and for John Jay to play that type of game, to play them as well as they did in the first half, I thought they had a very sound game plan. They came out, were aggressive, and gave us a very entertaining game. Yorktown just took over in the second half, able to make the adjustments. That's what makes them so strong. That's why they won 11 of these things in a row now. That's why they are the defending state champions as the players from both teams line up for the Olympic handshake.
Yorktown the victor by 3, 10-7. Back with more after this on VIP Cable Channel 12.
Okay, we're joined right now with some of the stars of today's Section 1 Class B championship game. Joe Lombardi now with Roy Colsey and Anthony DeAndrea of Yorktown. Both had 3 goals in today's game. And, of course, Steve Carcaterra, who started the second half outburst for Yorktown, which resulted in their 11th straight sectional championship. We'll start with you, Roy, because I thought your goal at the end of the second quarter might have been the turning point right there. You guys called a timeout, and you're up there. You're down by 4 goals. What was the game plan in that situation, down by 4? How important is it there to get that goal?
It was really not a game plan. It was just, he said just go out there and go in 2-2-2 and work it, and Steve just made a really nice look. Mm-hmm. And the goalie was out of position. That's about it.
Now, they really came out and took it to you guys. They were playing very aggressively. They came out with a new defense. What was your reaction to that? You didn't even touch the ball for a while there, Roy.
I don't know. We just played, I can't say it on camera, but we played pretty bad, out there. And I don't know. It was just, I guess, maybe we might have looked ahead to Garden City or whatever in the semifinal, and we kind of forgot about what we were doing, I guess. I'm not really sure, I guess. I just know that all of a sudden we just it came to us that we were losing, so good thing we realized it before it was too late.
And Anthony, you really helped the team spread out the offense to the perimeter. Is that your specialty, the outside shot there?
I don't have a special. I have about 7 goals on the year. These guys have about 120 put together, so look to them do the dirty work.
And the DeAndrea brothers coming up big. You and your brother Rocco in goal. Rocco really has been playing well the last few games.
Defense all together has been playing pretty well lately. We had a couple of lapses, but we're coming together. I hope we do it for the tournament now in States.
Steve, talking to Coach Bob Keir of John Jay before the game, he said their game plan with you was to let you maybe have 2 or 3 goals and cut down on your assists. And early on, it looked like that would be the case. But then you started getting back to what you do best, feeding and getting the ball to Roy and to Dominic Finn. What was the difference? How were you able to make that adjustment?
Well, Roy gets so open on the crease all the time. It's just all I have to do is throw it. It doesn't take too much. He's a strong kid and, hit everything. And Dom, he just sticks everything too. So, it was just, we had to get the openings. We really didn't have the ball in the first half too much. We weren't keeping it down. We were throwing the ball a lot, out of bounds a lot and stuff. So we just settled down and threw it to Roy.
The game really was a tale of 2 halves. What was it that they did that so bothered you in that first half of play?
The game really fired out. Sirigliano was just, pumping everything in and feeding. He's their man. And he was doing a good job down for the offense, and their defense was doing real well on ground balls. And they did a good job, Siska, Newman, and all those guys. They were on every ground ball, and, they just had it, but I don't know.
You guys are, of course, the defending state champions right now. You start defense of your Section 1 title officially. Less than a week, actually, next Thursday against Hofstra. Looks like that team might be Garden City. Wouldn't you say, Roy?
Yeah, it's possible. We got to play really well. That's all. Hopefully that was our
field advantage out there too, since they're played on that field.
So yeah, I guess you could say that. But hopefully this was our lapse. We had our half a quarter or whatever, a lapse, and that's it. I hope that's it for the rest of from now until it's over. Because if we do it again, it's over. That's it.
Yorktown, of course, going for back-to-back state titles for the first time in school history. It would be their 3rd overall. Now joined by 2 co-captains from John Jay, Charles Sirigliano and Anthony Newman, 2 All-America players, just named to the All-America team. Congratulations on that. And fine game today, well-played game. Of course, the end result, certainly not what you like it to be. And obviously, when you look at this game, Charles, a tale of 2 halves. You guys came out in the first half, dominated play, only had a 3-goal lead at halftime, but really controlled play. And then the second half was just all Yorktown there.
Yeah, the team just came out and we practiced real hard. We knew that we'd end up probably with Yorktown at the beginning of the season. We knew the sectional final would probably end up with them. And so it was really no surprise when we ended up here. So, luckily we came out and we started pretty good, but it didn't end up as planned.
You were really freewheeling offensively in that first half, operating from all over the box, inside yourself in the crease, Todd Orlowski, and outside Jag and Tenfold, just operating all over. Why do you think you were able to do that so freely against a team that you struggled to even get a shot off the first time you played them this year?
Yeah, well, the first time we played them, we didn't move the ball too well. And so Coach was working on this pretty much the whole season on getting the ball around more, so more people could, get a chance to do something with it. And, a lot of the attackmen, Todd and Matt, they came along really well, and, they had a lot of points and did real well this season. So I think the whole team together really, the offense started to come along, and working against our defense, which is so good. I think one of the best defenses probably in the section. That really helps too, being in practice with them all the time. So.
Anthony, talking about the defense, you guys came out and really threw them for a loop with the new defense you've been working on. It really caught them off guard. They made the adjustment in the second half, but did you ever think it would work as well as it did early on?
Actually, I did. We were running the defense for a long time. It's a new defense. I don't know where Coach got it, but it was really effective during practice. It was really funny because none of the defensemen have ever been excited about a defense, and we all came into this game. The defense is called the Shark, and we're all very excited. A couple of the guys are wearing Shark shirts, so we're very excited about running the defense. We came out in the first half. Everybody had a lot of wind, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. It really came together. We ran it well. We kept them down in the scoring department. The second half came, and we kind of winded. We knew we had a big lead, so I guess the defense just let up. We didn't hold it.
And you talk about the Shark defense. When you talk about the people you're trying to contain, obviously, you talk about Carcaterra, Colsey, and Finn, and you did a great job of doing that. The second half, they just seemed to open it up, and they got a lot of fast breaks. I think of their first 4 goals, 3 of them came on the fast break. What would lead to that type of thing? Even trouble clearing the ball with the goalie clearing the ball and that type of thing?
Well, in the first half, we came out, Coach said, when it looks like they're going to clear the ball, they drop back to the goal and set right up in the defense, which takes away their fast break offense. We did that effectively in the first half. The second half, we came out. A couple people kept tripping at the midfield line. People were getting nervous. Who am I going to take? So they were getting their fast break goals. When it was settled, we didn't have the right personnel in, and nobody knew who to take. The matchups were all messed up. So they exploited the matchups very well. Coach Turnbull was an excellent coach, and he really knew what to do.
And you two guys, all too familiar with the Yorktown players. You both played on the Empire State games. You know a lot of these players, both All-Americans, along with 2 of their guys as well, and very familiar with them. And you might even be meeting them down the line in college. Charles here is going to Duke, and Anthony, of course, to the University of Virginia. But you guys, looking back on your John Jay careers, certainly have to be happy with the way things have gone. 3 straight appearances in the Section 1 finals. Charles, great year for you overall with the football and the lacrosse now as well. Do you have plenty to look back on fondly?
Yeah, this has been a really great year. And I don't think, I'm disappointed right now, but I'm real happy with the way the season turned out.
And Anthony, now you are free to play in that game next Saturday, the North-South All-Star game. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Get to play. I get actually playing with a couple guys that I'm going on to Virginia with.
All right.
Yeah, they all called me up on the phone telling me how they're going to kill us, and so I'm really excited about going down and showing them what the North can do.
All right, we'll see. It's like the Civil War, North versus South, and we had a war on our hands today, won by Yorktown, 10-7. Thank you very much, Anthony Newman and Charles Sorigliano of John Jay.
Yorktown defeating John Jay 10-7 in this Section 1 Class B final, winning their 11th straight section championship, going on to defend their state championship. Today's game brought to you by Bedford Hills Supply. Go see Wizard Scarduzio for the best in air conditioning systems, including Barnum Air Conditioning Systems, Burnham Air Conditioning Systems, La Familia, located in the Cross River Shopping Center for the best in Italian food, Party Pleasures at Route 35 and 121, Pit Stop Quick Oil Change in Mount Kisco, Poughkeepsie, and Wappingers Falls, Sal's Service Center, and Sunoco Service Station as well. Total service with a smile that's quick and efficient too. And can't forget the Sports Barn, your lacrosse headquarters, Route 202 in Yorktown Heights. For Joe Lombardi, I'm J.R. Whalen. Yorktown the winner over John Jay in this Section 1 Class B final, 10-7. Thanks for joining us here on VIP, Cable Channel 12.